to invite Chaitra to join me back on stage so she can wrap up the last portion of the day and talk to you a little bit more about leveraging the ecosystem and the resources that Women in Cloud has to offer so that you can become the purpose-driven leader that all of you are destined to be. So Chai, take it away.
And thank you, Olivia, for doing a fabulous, fabulous job today. What a great day. I'm actually more inspired after the summit, and I feel like I got my power fuel for continuing to make this transformation that we need. So thank you for leading an amazing session. So again, I would say, wow was the word that comes to my mind. And what an incredible few days we had. And we hope you all enjoyed the community-driven virtual experience for this year's 2022 summit. While no one could have expected that we could be meeting like this, we actually wanted to do a hybrid, like in person and then virtual. But in September, we had to make a shift to get it to virtual so that we knew the virus variant was there and we didn't want any one of you to get sick. So we also did not expect like a lot of community leaders, entrepreneurs, and tech founders that still rose to the occasion and showed up how to truly, transform a collective impact we can be. I also want to honor and commend all of you to be being here in the midst of COVID and all of what the world is experiencing, right? And even in the toughest of the times, our goal is to commit in helping each other reach their goals, expand our influence, grow our business, and also grow our leadership skills and create the greatest impact possible for you and your communities. So over the last, I would say 4 days, we have over like 850 people who attended the summit, and they experienced, engaged, connected, and they came from 24 countries. So we got to celebrate with them. We got to learn and connect and also create a movement with each other. So I want to acknowledge a few of the people and the companies who made that possible. First is, I would like to thank all our sponsors. We have Accenture, Insight, Microsoft, Teradata, M12, Mela, the Canadian Consulate, and many others who actually stepped in to help us develop the leadership and people and business to really make the tech industry sustainable, right? And the future of the tech has to be inclusive and sustainable, and they believe in us. And we cannot do without a capital investment. And because of them, it made it very, very easy to bring the experiences and the programs throughout the year to really create real access to economic opportunities. I also want to thank all my board of directors and advisors who we collaborate with on a regular basis to innovate the solutions that create economic access and opportunities. Without them, I don't think we can actually bring in very innovative solutions because they are coming from different facets of the ecosystem. I also want to thank all our community partners, which is Hello Alice, BCPA, IMCP, Women in Tech Network, Voices for Innovation, Microsoft Alumni Network, Founders Life, who collaborate with us to reach to the communities that we can't reach and create access to everyone who needs it. And to all the volunteers and ambassadors who really invested time to make the summit an amazing experience. It felt real. I actually felt I was connected more to all of you, and the summit makes it happen. And the last and the best of it is the team, the Women in Cloud team, who made this possible behind the scene. You see the magic that they have created. I would like to have Erin, Olivia, Alyssa, and Faranda come on the stage. They were producing the summit for the last 4 days because some of our team members and their family members are going through COVID. So thank you, ladies, for making this possible. And also thank you to all the people who are in the back who are making all the magic happen. So we have Vinay, Tucker, Riza, Holly, Sammy, Yun, Grace, and Doug, who make this possible. And they are from different parts of the world. So ladies, how was the experience for you producing a community event?
I'll go first. It was amazing. We had some really great content coming out, and I think that the speakers were really engaged with the audience. I loved when we had audience participation. I really loved that, and I think it just helped engage them more. Today's was my favorite. I always love the youth one, so it's great to hear from the youth, and I always appreciate all our advisors who participate and volunteer their time. So thank you on a Saturday for coming and being here.
And Olivia, Alyssa, and Ferranda?
I have had so much fun, and every year this is one of my favorite few days of the whole year, being part of the WIC Summit and being behind the scenes, but also getting to meet and talk to all of our incredible speakers and advisors. And I'm with Erin today. All of the panels we've had this week have been incredible and like speakers, but today was absolutely my favorite. I was blown away by these young future leaders, our next generation of leaders. And I'm so grateful that to come and share their knowledge and their experience and their stories with us.
Awesome. Alyssa?
Truly echoing Erin and Olivia, this was such a great experience. This was my first summit. So this was amazing to connect with each one of you and learn truly about this community and how strong it is. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and this was a great 4 days.
And Ferranda?
Truly enjoyed myself. This is also my first summit as well. And this was also my favorite day. I love the youth panel. I love hearing them, and I love seeing our future. I really enjoy that. And I really enjoy all of the access that we were able to provide, all of the warm introductions and things like that. Like, I really think that this was a movement to be a part of. So.
Awesome. First is thank you, ladies, for stepping in and really driving the whole summit engine in the midst of chaos and bringing such a fabulous experience. So thank you to doing that. So I actually would like to do is this year in 2022, I want to reinforce our pledge to the UN Sustainability Goals that continue to provide support, education, and policy changes around gender equality, inclusion, healthy work environments, economic growth for women, building trusted partnership and innovation within our industry. And let's collectively become the most influential ecosystem. In addition to, we'll also focus much of our mission and programming and events on the power of collective influence. So here are some marquee programs that I would like you to consider if you want to participate to develop your business, develop your leadership, and develop your community. The first one is we are introducing the annual access pass, because what we realized is many of the community members did not want to buy tickets, they didn't want to buy things. So we wanted to basically create as an access pass, which allows you with a minimal contribution, we will be able to bring a transformational leadership programming, because we do need the right network who needs it. And second, we need to go raise the capital to make that happen. And then we can actually hire a person to really do. So everyone gets to win. We create a job, we create access to opportunities, and we have amazing content that is allowing people and community work, right? So we need that. Second one is, so I would love each of you to think about considering to participate in that. And we're also going to work with corporate partners to really see if they can underwrite access for women to be part of the transformational series. The second one is the Cloud Co-Sell Accelerator. These are for business owners who are building an innovation in the market using cloud and AI. If you want to really learn how to go about it, what it takes, and leverage the marketplace and get ready in the enterprise, that particular cohort is going to be opening in Feb. So the applications, you can go and apply, and we get to select. The board of advisors help us select. So please go do that. The third one is the Azure Scholarships. We have 500 more scholarships that were, underwritten by Microsoft and Coursera. It's going to be available in Feb. So if you're thinking about, I want to get into tech and I want to get my foundation right, that scholarship is available. And, last year we did amazing with that. Now people are already getting into jobs, and Zana came and talked about in the day one of how her life was transformed through these scholarships. So keep that in mind. The last one, which is an innovation one, is the WIC Lead Up program. It's a leadership accelerator program and really designed for influencing and leading digital transformation initiatives with cloud and AI in their company or in the community. The reason why we are doing is we looked at all the programs out there, but what they don't really have is what it takes to become a true leader and what executives are looking for or the companies are looking for. So based on that, we are going to do is programming and an accelerator. And Women in Cloud Accelerator is pretty intense. You go through it. By the time you come out, you see growth, you see transformation. So we will have workshops. We'll have you build a strategy briefs like the youth did. You will also get to do that. Then you will have access to mastermind classes and your network. You also get to work on your pitch. And then you get to really drive an ROI of 5 to 10x for your company through the innovation that you're going to bring to the market. So that's the one that we will be working on. And the last one is we have the youth internship program that we will still continue to do. We will take another 6 to 10 kids to go through the internship program. We learned a lot from the first batch, and we want to do one more batch this 2022 and see how many ideas will come to market by us contributing to their life as an adult mentors. So this is where we find joy in the work we do, not just by the accomplishment of work, we achieve ourselves, but through the collective success of this journey together as a thriving community. So this year, I'm actually going to challenge each one of you to tap into your own influence, create your own moments of impact, even if it's just one individual you can make a difference on. We want to see the access or we want to see the success from me to we model of leadership, and how little gestures and connection and the words of affirmation can go a long way. So I'm going to invite 3 of our board of advisors who will come and share their stories of how they are driving the transformation and impact in the market. So I will have Karen Cohn join me on the stage. She will talk about executive presence, how we need to think about it. Then we'll have Rajiv Kapoor. He will come and talk about relationship building. And then I'll talk about Michelle Pruitt, come and talk about taking action. So Karen, I'll start with you. As you think about the 2022, how should people start paying attention to building executive presence?
Thanks. You know what? Executive presence is really critical. And the way I'd like to tell the story, if it's all right, Chaitra, is I should say the way I'd like to talk about executive presence is by telling a story. Because my journey to the C-suite and to the boardroom has been successful, but it was rockier and slower than, frankly, many of my counterparts, male counterparts, who I believe I was as competent as them, or maybe even more competent. And I'm going to go back a few years because I spent the first half of my career at IBM. And it was challenging in a good way. I was continuously learning, growing. I had lots of different roles. I had international assignments in places like France and Russia and Japan and China. And during this time, I also brought 3 kids into the world. So I was busy. But at one point during my career, I hit a glass ceiling. And to be honest, I didn't really know what had happened. I was the second line manager and 1 level below executive. My performance ratings were top notch. My employee satisfaction surveys were positive. I didn't get a lot of criticism from my managers, though I probably could have used some. And all that said, I was going my 6th year at the same level with no prospects of promotion. So I didn't know what was happening, but I had the opportunity to work for about 6 weeks with a very successful woman executive. And I realized that this would be an opportunity perhaps for her to give me some insights on why my career had stalled. And I asked her for some blunt feedback. Well, she was blunt, whether I liked it or not. She said the issue was not my performance, it was excellent. Instead, it was the image I projected while getting the job done that was blocking my way into the executive ranks. I asked her for more clarification because I didn't really know what she meant. She said, apparently, as I strive to meet all the deadlines in a complete manner, I came across as someone who was always in a rush and thus not in control. My focus was what still needed to be done, rather than taking the time to acknowledge and celebrate what was already accomplished. Now, this gave some of my colleagues an opportunity, the opportunity to take some credit for what I had done, all right? I was perceived as a high-performing worker bee. So I didn't project the executive presence required for senior leadership. And even if my direct reports recognized me as a leader, key stakeholders and influencers didn't. Wow. It was like a bucket of cold water had been dumped on me. I was grateful that the director had been open, but I was shocked that I lacked self-awareness. And it became clear to me that my glass ceiling was as much of my own making as it was due to a male-dominated work environment. And I needed to reinvent myself. So I realized some of the lessons I learned, that I needed to walk into meetings calmly, with my head held high, not looking at my papers, my laptop, my smartphone, and so on. I needed to come across as confident, in control, gathering my courage. So I began to change some of my behaviors. I started to talk about what was done, not apologizing for what was not done. I started speaking up in meetings without asking permission. I replaced words like, I hope this meets your needs, with, I am confident this will meet your needs, and avoided phrasings like, try to, hope, perhaps you could, which all of which are fine words, but they sounded apologetic rather than confident in my own recommendations and confident in the outcomes that were achieved. I also looked for opportunities to share sound bites on success without being boastful. What do I mean by that? Just to give a quick example. Let's say I'm walking down the hall and I run into an influencer or someone and they say, hi, Karen, how are you? Instead of just saying fine and rushing by, I would just say, oh, I'm great. I just closed this great deal with XYZ company. It's really got great opportunities and I'm so excited. So thanks for asking. Great to see you. And I would move on. 10 seconds. But at that point in time, I shared a success. All right. The other thing is getting some support of key stakeholders in advance of meetings. What I mean by that, so when I would walk by, propose something, it didn't, we heard a lot of the women talk over the last couple of days about how other people weren't listening to women. Other people would mention the same thing and like it was their first idea. By being prepared in advance, I was able to get the support I needed. I also, though, did not change, continuing to make sure that my team and my collaborators were recognized. All right. So how did I fare with my reinvention? It made a difference. My voice carried more clout. My outcomes were impactful. I actually did at that point decide I needed a fresh start. So at that point, I moved to Gartner, advisory research firm. I took a position as an analyst. Within 2 years, I was in the executive suite, and that was through executive presence and not just focusing on the day-to-day job, but finding allies and mentors and creating sponsors by helping them be successful. And then the doors did open. So take a look at how you're behaving. Look at your executive presence. You want to be a leader, project as a leader. It really makes a difference. Chaitra, sorry to be so long-winded.
No, thank you, Karen. I think that message that you gave us today, the insight, is what we all want. I remember when I was at Oracle and I went into the executive suite supporting Safra and the leaders, the first thing they said is stop fidgeting, be calm, be composed. When you come in, always have options to choose, but you are not the decision maker, but give options to choose. So that one was absolutely best advice I ever had. And I still feel I'm still working on it, but it is a journey that you can take and you will get to the place where you want to go. So thank you, Karen, for helping us become the best version of ourselves and educating the entire ecosystem of what they can do to build their executive presence. Rajiv, I am so excited you are here and your glasses are absolutely on fire. I love it. So I have something about you because you are fabulous at building relationship. So as each of us are going to build impact in our communities, how should you approach that and set goals around relationship building for 2022?
Thanks, Chaitra, and thanks, Karen. That was amazing. That's stuff that I need to work on as well. I really appreciate that too. So I just jotted down a couple of concepts that I wanted to share. So one is simply the numbers game. And I do think of that. And, you know, for me, I remember back in the day, someone just said to me, if you're not out tonight, you're not going to meet anybody. The chances of that is 100%. So that definitely plays in. And the second concept I'd like to share is break the network. This actually came from someone, an amazing female venture capitalist that I recently met in December. And she was talking about how, you know, a lot of whether it's hiring or, you know, the investment community, there's just a lot of people who already know each other. And so that needed to be broken. And that really resonated with me. And I realized, you know what, I've been seeing that in other places as well. There's an apprentice that I met a couple of years ago. And she told me at the time that she decided she was going to kind of break her network and meet 20 people that year. And I was one of the 20, and I was honored to be one of those 20. And this is like a 25-year-old young woman in, you know, Bay Area. And I was so proud of her for doing that. And I'm sure that's, you know, been really valuable for her. And bringing that to me just a little bit. Right now, I'm one of two leaders of a fund. And you know, we're in the venture capital industry, which I didn't really know anyone in the venture capital industry a few years ago. So for me, just saying that because the entire whatever network I have is kind of new. And so there were, you know, high school friends, college friends, even work friends that for the most part are not in this world now. And I'm just pointing this out because wherever you decide to go with your career, you can rebuild that, you can break your network and rebuild it at any time. It does take time and effort. And then finally, I just think I'd like to point out one of the gifts of what is going on around me, which is like meeting a lot of incredible women for the most part over the last few years, is that I've learned so much about listening and just like understanding people's situations. There was a female venture capitalist that just tagged a LinkedIn post today, and she was talking about how, you know, you know, in all her career as a venture capitalist, male wealth managers have not really asked her what her challenges are. And you know, I was like, what? How is that possible, right? So if I were to, that would be probably the one thing I would say to allies or men, is to listen to these stories. It's such a gift, and learn. And then bringing that to the rest, I think that's what can help when you have these conversations with people. If you understand where they're coming from, why, what's their motivation, even if two people are doing the same thing, like maybe both are interested in the same thing, but you know, one is interested in it because they're, you know, maybe their mom was an incredible leader, and then that made them realize that, you know, females should be doing things, and the other one is coming from a totally different reason. Just understanding these reasons, and then that will help you bond with that person, and also find ways to help them understand their challenges too, and be helpful to them. And then I think those are the top things I just wanted to mention.
Thank you, Rajiv. You have done such a fabulous work in your contribution to helping all our entrepreneurs. There's one thing that you talked about, hear and listen. Here is something my couple of friends, when we were talking, and I kind of took, if you're hearing, like when people say you have to listen, and most of the people say you're not listening, here is how I learned from them is when you're hearing a conversation, you would react. When you're listening, you will act. So let me give you an example. If I tell my kid is do this one, and if he heard, they would react as, no, I didn't do this, or I didn't do it, right? Or they would go into a reactive mode. But if they're listening, they'll say, got your point. I will make sure I will address it. So you're acknowledging and accepting the situation, and you're giving the right instance. So if you're thinking about, are you reacting or are you acting, right? You need to know which angle, but the hear and the listen was a very interesting perspective. I actually became a better listener after that, because in my head, if I get triggered, that means I'm reacting. That means I'm not listening to what they are going to say. So thank you for bringing that point home, Rajiv. So I have the last one. Michelle, if you are here, I would love to have you on the stage with me. And I would love to see if you can make it. Can we broadcast her on the stage? Let's see.
Yeah, we're trying. I think there's some tech issues, so I don't think we'll be able to get her back on.
Got it. So I'm going to just share a story of Michelle Pruitt, and you already saw her. And if she comes in, she will share more. Her thing was more around taking action. And I can say this one 4 years ago, I remember right after the summit, and I was relaxing, and she said, I want to get more involved. I'm very inspired. She sent me a text message through LinkedIn. And when she said, I'm like, yeah, I can talk to you right away. And when we talked, it was such an inspirational conversation. And I said, you need to step into the power of building a relationship with Women in Cloud and start contributing. So her contribution went from advising to, finding sponsors. And I can tell you, it's like, whatever I needed, she would go make magic happen. I said, I want you to be on my board of advisor network because you have given me some interesting perspectives and giving me so much to really navigate the world I don't know. So that was Michelle, and her role was taking action, giving back, constantly contributing back to the ecosystem, especially when the Empower Her Family initiative. I said, we need to raise like $60,000 to save 150 families. She's like, I got the money. I will give you for some. Let's start the. It was incredible to have, leaders who step in that role. So that's Michelle Pruitt. So if you get a chance, please connect with her. Again, thank you to all of you for being here. Next year, we are going to come back in January. Again, we will celebrate, connect, learn, and take responsibility to make the future of tech sustainable. So the theme of the next year is collective responsibility. So we will work on coming up with ideas and things and activities which will allow us to really take responsibility collectively, and also try to make it hybrid so we can meet with each other. So again, join the movement. Together, we are the voices that are changing the narrative, changing the future of the next generation, and granting access to all the women leaders and entrepreneurs around the world who are using their own influence for good. And this is my wish for all of you. So as you leave today, think of those little movements of impact, no matter how big or small they are, knowing that your voice counts, your representation counts, your accountability counts, and your contribution matters. And that is what the industry needs. And together we are the force for bringing $1 billion in economic access for women across the tech industry by 2030. So again, thank you all for being here. We are excited to being engaged throughout the year. So thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Karen. And thank you,
Chaitra. You count.
Yes.
Everything you just said applies to your leadership. And it's a thrill to work with you and to step up and to do all kinds of things that I never thought I could do, and now I can do. So thank you, Chaitra.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's get back to the lounge. Will be open for another 30 minutes. If you want to network, you can. But this concludes the whole summit. Again, we'll see you back in next year. But please join our network. Till then, namaste and have a great day.